Welcome to the Agribusiness Global Report. My name is Sarah Webb. I'm editor of Agribusiness Global and your host of today's show. In this segment, I speak with Jim DeLisi, chief of Fanwood Chemical, about the Section 122 tariffs and pending 301 investigations and what this means for the industry. Thanks for joining. Jim, thanks so much for joining me this morning. My first question for you, can you talk a little bit about the Section 122 tariffs and the pending 301 investigations going along with that?
Sure, Sarah. So the Section 122 tariffs are in place at 10%. And there was a lot of talk a month or so ago about raising them to 15%. That talk has died down because the administration got itself in an awkward position with several countries and the EU, where the maximum tariff rate was to be charged was going to be 15%. But the Section 122 did not allow the flexibility they needed to adjust the rates, so that in the case of a lot of chemicals, which are 6.5%, 10 plus 6.5% is 16.5%, which is above 15. Japan has agreed to continue on with the previously drafted and signed IEPA agreement. The EU has been buckling a little bit, and some of the other places have been really concerned. But if the administration does kick it to 15%, that would exasperate the problem tremendously. So I don't think there's going to be a move from 10 to 15%. The thing that's important to understand is that the July 24 is the sunset date for the 122 tariffs, because that regulation or that statute only allows for 150 days. Technically, if the president wants to extend it beyond 150 days, he needs an act of Congress, which is highly unlikely he could get. There has been some talk that he could let it lapse for a few days and then reimpose it. I suspect that would be litigated. There is a lawsuit challenging the whole basis for the 122 tariffs in place at the Court of International Trade, which will probably take another month or two to work its way through, at which point it will probably be beyond July. The piece of it that's really important, though, is the intention was to institute 301 investigations on countries, with the 301 to be completed before the expiration of the 122. There are two 301 investigations ongoing. One is on forced labor, where 60 countries are being investigated for their failure to impose and effectively enforce a prohibition on the importation of goods produced with forced labor. There's a second 301 investigation for excess capacity in manufacturing sectors. There are 16 countries which were included in that investigation, including the EU, China, India, and just about everybody else who matters to the agrochemical industry. So if they succeed in completing the 301 investigations before July 24, then the president will have pretty much a free hand to do with what he wants with tariffs. Frankly, I'm skeptical that can happen. The third 301 investigation that's ongoing and has been for a while, since October 24, 2025, is China's adherence to the Phase 1 agreement from the first Trump administration from 2020. It's now 6 or 7 months past, and they have not completed that investigation. And frankly, that one should have taken about 20 minutes, because there was a set of criteria that China needed to meet in order to comply with that Phase 1 agreement, and they didn't buy enough. They didn't meet their requirements to buy an awful lot of commodities from the United States. So why that one has taken 6 months is hard to understand, and suggest that the others may not make it in time. So there may be a window of opportunity to import into the United States after July 24 before the 301s are completed, without any tariffs, additional tariffs above the baseline tariffs. So people need to consider the fact that there may be an open window sometime after July 24 for a week, a month, who knows how long it will take for 301s to kick in and tariffs under the 301. So it's something that people need to consider and plan for.
Thanks for joining for this segment of the Agribusiness Global Report. I'm your host, Sarah Webb. Until next time.